Hi, welcome to the coaching game. I am Laurie Lawson, and tonight my guest is Antoy Grant. Hey, Antoy.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Laurie. How are you doing?
I would say I had the opportunity to meet Antoy recently, but I had the opportunity to be amazed by Antoy. She's got so much going on. She knows so much more about producing a show than I do. So I go, oh, this is going to be my lifetime friend here because she's going
That
to.
happens a lot. That happens.
I'll bet it does. People picking your little brain. I got it. But what we're going to really do today, instead of talk about my inadequacies, we're going to talk about what Antoy's got going on. And I guess what I want to know is because she's a credential coach and she's a speaker and she's a strategist and she's a consultant. She's an author. She's a playwright. Oh my gosh, and an actor. I could just go on and on. How the heck did you get into coaching? I got to know that.
The funny story is, and I hear this a lot from different coaches, right? A lot of us were coaching before we realized we were coaching. So I think mine started really early. I was born in Jamaica, the island, not Queens. And even from the time I was really young, adults and whoever would just tell me what was going on in their lives or their problems. And, even as a kid, I didn't even have answers, but, maybe they just needed to vent. So I've kind of been listening to people for a really long time. And throughout my life, I kind of became that person the go-to person if someone wanted to talk something out or they were having relationship problems or whatever, they would kind of come to me. And so, but I never really recognized it as I was coaching them. I just recognize it as like, I'm the go-to person that people want to talk to that I know. And so my journey was kind of, I guess, a strange one because my background's in entertainment. So I've worked in the entertainment business. And I found when I started my production company, I was working with clients and we would end up becoming really friendly. And then they'd be telling me their problems. And I'm like, okay, how do we go from doing a music video to now you're telling me relationship problems or your life problems or, what you want to do with your business. So that's kind of how it transitioned. It's something I've done naturally, but didn't really realize that I was I was doing it. And sometime in probably around 2018, my spirit kind of was like, you should really pursue this. You should really look into what do you have to do to really have some skills, not just be doing it freelance, not knowing what you're doing because you're already doing it. And, so I decided to go back to school and become certified. And, the rest is history. Now I'm coaching. So that's kind of like the short version.
It's so funny. You are so right, because I think almost, I'm going to say 80% of coaches turned around one day and went, you mean I can get paid for this? I've been doing this my whole life. Wait a minute, there's a whole
Exactly.
profession out there? Wow. So we all jumped on and went, okay, let's try this. And few and far between actually carry on. I mean, the skills are always there. And I always tell, I do a lot of mentor coaching. I always say, even if you don't go on and be, the world's best coach, that you can't drop the skills. The skills are fantastic. So that's interesting. And yes, the path is well worn, well worn by all of us, I think. So tell me a little bit, what are you doing? I know you're director of marketing and what else?
Communications.
Communications, of course. So what are you doing for ICF-NYC? Because that's my old alma mater. Yeah, I used to be there.
Yes. You're the president, right?
I was, yeah.
Yes.
And I just keep hanging around. I think it's a great organization. So I'm thrilled to see somebody with your caliber and many, many skills to be a part of it. Yeah, we didn't even have one of them when I was doing it. We
Yes.
needed one, but we didn't have one.
Well, I love being the director of marketing and communications for ICF NYC. And the reason is when you first become a coach, you're kind of like, okay, so, people tell you got to have a niche and you got to do this and you got to do that. And then when you're working on your marketing for yourself as a coach, I'm like, how does doing video production, doing graphics, doing all of this. How does that fit into coaching? And I was so confused. And then even trying to do a website, everyone was like, you need like 3 separate websites. And I'm like, I don't want to maintain 3 different websites. So I created like one website and I'm like, I'm just going to put everything on it. And even when I would at first attend coaching events, I didn't bring my whole self to those situations. I would say, oh yeah, I'm a life business coach. I didn't bring my entertainment history with me because I'm like, people were telling me to keep it separated. And at one point, I just didn't feel like I was being authentically who I was, because I was only representing the coaching side to coaching people. And so, when I joined ICF, they were like, pick a chapter, that's a local chapter, and couldn't decide between LA and New York because I'm in both, but I decided on New York. And when I joined New York, I was like, okay, there's just so much education, so much training, so much going on, and I want to be a more intricate part other than just being a member. So I joined two of the committees and volunteered special projects as well as community impact, because I like to volunteer. So I did those 2 committees for a year, and then just got to see how the amazing things we're doing within the community, providing pro bono coaching to organizations that couldn't afford it, and just all the wonderful things that I didn't even know about. And then just all the certification classes that you get, with professional development. And I was like, this is awesome. So when the opening came up, and I came with my full self, I told them, look, this is my background. It may have nothing to do with coaching, but this is what I've done. And they really embraced me in a way like my whole authentic self. And those gifts and those talents were able to be utilized while I volunteered on the committees. I was creating their flyers. I was helping them with wording for emails. So in my volunteer work on the committees, I got an opportunity to express that, bring that history with me. And so when the board position came up for marketing and communications, as you said, when you were the president, you didn't have one. So when I came in, they didn't have one for a really long time. So I was like, this is right up my alley. I can work within a coaching organization, which I love coaching, and I can bring my graphic design and my video production and my editing, and I can bring all of that, and it can all be in one place. So it's been an honor and a pleasure to just be able to be authentic within the coaching space with who I am completely. So
what fantastic lessons for coaches, and maybe for certainly for coaches and maybe for non-coaches. One is that I always tell people, bring everything you have to the table, because as we all know, coaching is a huge business. It keeps growing and growing, and there's a lot of coaches out there, but there's only one you. So whatever you got, bring it to the table, because you're going to connect. I mean, and I'm sure you've found that you've connected to an entire organization as well as individuals, so.
And not only is the lesson within just the ICF-NYC, but just having the opportunity to have that experience of saying, I don't have to hide that, I do acting, or I don't have to hide that I'm a producer or director when I'm talking to coaches. It's not that I'm going to harp on that, but I can mention that I have these skills and these talents, and they can also be utilized within the coaching space. And it's just about bringing your whole self to any situation, whether it's a coaching situation. And I think a lot of times when we enter a new situation, we feel like babies, and that's where like the imposter syndrome comes in. Like, am I good enough? Do I have what it takes? But you have to bring all that history with you, all that experience, all that background, all that information. Even though you're going to be learning brand new things, you're not just a blank slate, so it's wonderful. It was a wonderful lesson in a way for me to understand and to share that, bring everything with you, bring it all with you. You might be new to this, but you're not brand new.
Excellent, excellent. And another life lesson that I got from your story is the niche, the one that they keep telling you, oh, you got to have it, you got to concentrate. And it's like, and you got to write your elevator speech. I don't even think they do that anymore, but you got to, you got to know who you're targeting. And I always tell people your niche is going to call you. I mean, I started out with health and wellness, and then I went to, so I don't know what I went to. And eventually, and when in 2008, when the financial crash came, it's like, oh, I have a background in HR and career development, and people were losing their jobs or afraid they were losing their jobs. So like, all right, I've got those skills. Let me use them, So
Yeah.
you did, and then New Yorker magazine did an article on retirement coaches, and I got stuck in there because I had a business, a geriatric care business, and suddenly it was a retirement coach. So you got to be flexible and pivot, and whatever is called. I think maybe that comes from, and you can tell me if you agree, but maybe that comes from our coaches have a need to serve. They really want to get out there and share some cool things that they know that the general population doesn't. So it's like, if you got to serve, no matter what capacity you're serving in, go for it if you see a need. So.
And I agree with that. And I think in addition, coaches, they're coming, a lot of them that I've met come from the heart, and they really want to do their best on behalf of their clients. So they really take it, really seriously, like, okay, I want to make sure I'm, within the right niche or whatever. And even for marketing purposes, I haven't seen a high level marketing skills sometimes amongst coaches. Most coaches don't even want to deal with marketing. They're like, can someone else do that? Let me take care of the people, So, and even being the thought of like, okay, well, now you have to decide what exactly you want to be in, and that's, coming from a production and marketing background, those are the rules. It's like, okay, if you don't know your niche, if you don't know your audience, you don't know who you're marketing to. So it makes sense. But I also feel like within coaching, if you're coming into it newly as a coach, you have to be in that flow, because you want to, also be serving your clients, but you also want to be happy with what you're doing as well. So I made a decision. I'm like, I'm just gonna, because when I was like racking my brain trying to figure out what's my niche, I said, well, who am I currently coaching right now? And I kind of looked at, okay, so what do they do? What industries are they in? What type of people? And I'm like, oh, I guess I already kind of have a niche right now, and I'll coach those people until some other people come along, or if there's something that I'm passionate about entering. So we also have to be in the flow of where we are in that moment. Like you said, you've followed a path, and at different times you've said, okay, this is what I want to do now. Something I think I enjoy also is because I started a family really late is I went through the IVF procedure. And, when I was going through, it's a long process, fertility. I was talking to my doctor, and he was like, you're a coach. I really feel like I need some assistance with my clients, because I handle the medical side, but there's no one that kind of walks them through the personal side of all the different things with the fertility that people deal with. So even, I think maybe down the line, I might add that, but we have to be open.
Wow, if ever there's a place where coaching was needed, and the heartbreak and the joy, and how do you deal with both? Well, I'm gonna keep me posted on that. I'd love that. Not that I'm
really interested in, because I'm going through it presently in the last couple of years. So I understand it on the deepest level, and just, I would love to, I have like 2 fertility clients, and it's a roller coaster, but it's, I'd love to be able to add that to my niche, as they call it.
Get the big niche.
My humongous.
Well, I can refer a couple people to you as soon as you decide that's your niche. So let me know.
I'm always open. I never turn down categories. Like, I was deciding if I wanted to be a relationship coach, because I do life, business, and creative. A majority, because I'm coming from entertainment. My clients are entertainment and creative clients. So, when someone was like, oh, can you be can you do relationships? I was like, yeah, because, coaching, you can kind of do it all. So I'm like, why not? I'll try it, so, but then I got two that I kind of didn't want to deal with anyone going through a divorce because that can be vicious. And of course, that's the first one I got, but it went really well. They were very happy. And then someone was like, I want to, by the end of our sessions, I want to be in a loving romantic marriage, God-based relationship. And I was like, okay, well, let's have a conversation about this agreement that we're going in.
Let's have a conversation about unrealistic expectations.
Exactly. So I was like, okay, that's not really what the coaching process is about. I'm not a matchmaker. But, at the end of both of those engagements, I was like, okay, this is kind of fun. I didn't mess it up totally, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm like, right now, I guess I'm just open to the flow. I feel like, the clients that are attracted to me for whatever coaching they need, that's what I'm doing. I would say, if I had to say what's the through line, I would say I have the ability to get people from point A to point B or point Z very quickly. So that's, if I had to say, what's your niche, it would be like getting stuff done.
Get you moving. I'm going to get you moving. Yeah,
exactly.
But I love what you said, and it's a lesson that I see over and over again that is needed. Is I think a lot of people go into coaching thinking, oh, coaching, I can be on the phone all day and I can be in my pajamas and that it'll be so great. And people will just be knocking on my door going, can you coach me? No, not at all. It is a business, and with a business, you've got to market and you've got to communicate. And so thank heaven. You know what? Tell people, I was going to do this at the end, but tell people where your website is, because it sounds like a lot of people might be interested in contacting you.
Sure, I'd love to. My coaching, consulting, and personal website is antoygrant.com. And my business website, business meaning entertainment related business, is mangoseed.tv. And I'm in the process of Mango Seed TV is a transformational lifestyle and entertainment company. So I'm in the process of, in 2023, launching a streaming platform and mobile apps that will host transformational content. So I'm super excited about that, to be able to create a space where like coaches and entertainment people more like independent creators can put all of their amazing content in one place, and people can go for content that is life transforming, so I'm super excited about that.
I was going to ask you, so I'm glad you mentioned it. What is the significance of Mango Seed? Does that have any significance, or did you just pull one out one day? Oh, that's a good name.
I really don't do anything.
I had a feeling. I had a feeling there was something a little deeper there. Yes.
I would, when I started a company, I said, I racked my brain. I was like, what? Because, if you're going to create a company, you're kind of like, if you have to look at this name for however long, you really want it to invoke that energy of, the business, the energy of the business, what you want to create in the world and all that kind of stuff. And I was just racking my brain, and I had so many names. And then I was like, okay, my business is about passion, creating, amazing works that transform people. It's coming from a place of love. So, okay, what do I love? And I'm like, what's the thing I love the most? And I said, mangoes, because I'm Jamaican. So I eat a lot of mangoes. Okay. Anytime you want to get me anything mango related, you can't go wrong. So I was like, okay, I like mangoes. And then I started out with the mango tree because it's a really beautiful tree in Jamaica. But then I thought, I went deeper and I said, well, if you have the mango seed, you can plant that and that can create a tree. That tree blossoms multiple mangoes, which also can fall and create other trees. So I just thought, oh man, that's just so powerful, which is kind of what, even before I started coaching, my work was about. It was like, if I can plant a seed in someone and then they blossom, then they can plant more seeds. And it's kind of like, it just keeps going and going and going. So when I change it from tree to seed, I'm like, that's it. I literally went and like got the, the LLC and got everything. Like, I'm like, let me get it before someone else, snatches it up. So that's kind of the significance of mangoes.
I had a feeling. I had a feeling it had some deeper meaning than just farmers, what farmers would care about. Yeah.
And sometimes at first, when I first started and you would Google mango seed, it would just be like farming. And I'm like, my goal is when you Google mango seed, you will see.
Your face is going to pop up. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's all of our goals. Yeah. So, tell me about, and I mentioned that you're an author, and you have a book out that says it's Say Word. Tell me what that is.
Say Word. Oh my God. So I'll try to give you the short version.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
So when I was in my early 20s, I co-wrote a show called Goddess City with a young lady called Abiola Abrams. She's a really big guru in the spiritual space now. She's on A House and all of these amazing places. But even in our early 20s, we were very in that transformational space. So we co-wrote a show called Goddess City. It was about these three goddesses who they were in Goddess City, which is wherever that amazing, wonderful place that you can imagine. And we decided, the earth was in disarray. We decided to come to the earth to help save people. So this is the story of the goddesses. So this play was so transformational. It's a play. It's basically spoken word with a live band. And, it didn't start out like that. It started out just me and her writing something. And then we ended up off Broadway. So, and this is way before, shows of, urban type shows or shows of color, or bring the funk, bring the noise, like we're even considered as Broadway worthy. So years later, after we, the show ran and it was ran successfully, we got a call and they asked us if, because our show, they said was one of the shows that created the path for shows like, Hamilton or whatever, to be on, for people to consider spoken word and, live hip hop music and that stuff to be featured in this book. It's an anthology book. So it was a book of all the plays that were off Broadway that they felt shaped theater. So I was like, wow. So that's kind of how that happened. And we had to rewrite the play into a book form to be featured in the book. So it's an amazing book if you like poetry and you want to learn about hip hop, and you want to learn about, things that are going on within, which are still going on now, unfortunately, within society, race, police, abortions, like everything is covered. And what our show, our play is one of the plays featured. And Chadwick Boseman also has his play that was featured in there also, and a lot of other amazing artists from that time period that they say, I don't say, shaped that path for theater as it is now within the urban and hip hop flow.
When did it run on Broadway?
It was in the 90s.
Well, you all did shape. My gosh, that was, because I review plays. There was nothing out there like that then. So.
Yes, like when we opened, we didn't even know what we were doing, to be honest. We just wanted to write something life-changing. And after we wrote it, we were like, now what do we do? And it was shortly after we wrote it, there was a theater festival coming up, the National Black Theater Festival. So we applied, we didn't get in, and we're like, let's just go anyway. So Abiola and I jumped on a bus with our script in hand and rode to the festival. I think it was in North Carolina. And we were like, if we have to perform pieces of it in the garden or on the floor, where, because it's kind of like one of those cool festivals where you can have space or not, and you can perform. So, but luckily, the universe, God intervened, and we met with as we arrived, we met the owners of the festival's son, and he was kind of like who are you guys? Because we always dressed up like goddesses, we're always super fly. And so he's like, who are you guys? You must be someone. And we're like, oh, well, we have this show and we didn't, but we didn't get into the festival. And he was like, oh, well, let me introduce you to my dad. And the rest is kind of history. We met August Wilson, Amiri Baraka, and we got to do a reading for them. It was nerve-wracking, huge playwrights, but they kind of gave us the check mark. And that's how we ended up off Broadway. They were like, saying our play was amazing. So it's featured in this book, Say Word. It's available on Amazon if you want to check it out.
Yeah, definitely check it out. See why I keep calling this woman amazing? Every time I talk to her, you find out, like, what? Okay, that was pretty cool. So we've got like less than 3 minutes left, believe it or not. This is going quickly. What do you see as some of the challenges coming up for you personally, or for the coaching world, or for marketing and communications? What do you see as some challenges?
Well, I guess I'll start with coaching. And it's because people have brought a lot of things to me, being on the board of directors. It's kind of, there's a lot of, the coaching industry itself is changing. ICF is working on raising the quality and standards of the perception of coaching, because now everyone can go take a 60-hour course and become certified. And so a lot of people who may not, not being judgmental, anyone can kind of just say, okay, I'm a coach, and so raising the standards and the credentialing, I feel like, is an important thing to do, because one of those challenges is, with any industry, if random people who aren't certified, educated, accredited, and don't know what they're doing are positioning themselves to impact the lives and businesses of others, it could be very detrimental. So I love that ICF is really working on changing particular things to raise those standards, and also, providing the accreditation and the credentialing, and even changing some of the wording to distinguish credentialed coaches from certified coaches. So I think over time we'll end up being similar to, how doctors have to go get their things,
yes,
and psychologists.
Renewed, yeah. That's funny, because when I was coming up in 2004, everybody was a coach. There was somebody out there calling herself a hair coach. There was somebody calling themselves a knife coach. She helped people undergoing plastic surgery. And I'm going, what position am I in? I don't understand. We are so out of time. I am going to just recommend that y'all check out either Google Antoy, Antoy Grant, or mango seed, and see what comes up. Our goal is to have Antoy's face pop up when you do mango seed. But you gotta keep following this lady, because she's got some cool stuff going on. Antoy, thank you so much for being on the coaching game. It's been so much fun. And I'm gonna keep talking to you, because I keep learning every time I do.
And I want to stay in touch with you.
Definitely. Let's do it. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.